How's it going? This is Man of Tomorrow here. I want to thank you guys for coming through. I knew this was always going to happen. And this is why I never left the space. You never leave the space because when all these people who talk about all these women that they ran through throughout life, what happens when less than 1% of those women say that you forced yourself upon her? What happened when that's the case? And here's the thing. You seen the Me Too with the entertainment industry. I'm quoting it him too for the rap industry, period. Because you heard about the things that happened with Miss Chalet, and you heard about the things that happened with recently with P. Diddy. You think those things are just a one off? A one off. You think those things are a one off? I can guarantee you most people did business like this. But when you set yourself up as and bragging on things that you do to women as the actual means of you being a man, you set yourself straight up in the crosshairs and the cross sights of making this an actual issue for yourself. I'm going to tell you how to dodge these things. I'm gonna tell you how to dodge these things. But there's a lot of people who's not going to be helped from here going forward. Any woman that you've cold approached at any point in time in your life can come through and make the exact same claims. They can. Let's say that you make it big and you end up curving somebody who actually came through, who tried to holler later on when you had your stuff together. These same claims can be made. Your whole life can be taken away from you. So if you think discipline isn't something that need to be exercised right now, you're wrong. And I'm not talking about exercise and discipline, but keep showing up to whenever a woman keep getting dumped on by these men on the internet. That's another problem. Again, you could think one group of sociopaths for this movement. The sociopaths that you can actually thank for this is the individual who say, get the bag. I lay this as squarely at the feet of these individuals. The people who say, oh, well, there's new people coming to the space. We need to talk to this stuff over and over again. I lay this, the Him Too movement, squarely at the feet of those individuals. I lay this squarely at the feet of those individuals. The individuals who say that they can't live without Puddy, bro, I lay this squarely at the feet of those individuals too. The dudes who are out here messing with the wrong type of women overall, I lay this at the feet of them too. It turns out that the Bravo Alpha November causes all of its own problems. Mm. Remember when these sociopaths was given an option to understand the actual woman and her mishandling of infinite dick because they thought by her being shamed it was going to help them qualify for more of them? I lay this at the feet of them too. Again, men have given women an inordinate amount of power, whether they deserve it or not. They did this stuff on their own. hmm We have a criminal justice system that works very well if you go through it in the proper format, especially when it comes to SA charges. I have been a lot of part of a lot of investigations when it comes to SA. It has not been very well on the man side because once the SA charges are even filed, a lot of people just blind out. They don't even care about what's true, what's not true, how evidence happens, eyewitness testimony, no DNA, no like. There's a lot of people who just throw all that stuff out the window. They throw it out the window. Remember how you had so much game and you about to be Coming back to the negotiating table with these type of personnel, I kept telling you, the people who's showing up at the negotiating table are not going to be personnel who's looking for an equitable deal because they don't have one when they show up. They're looking to take from you when you show up there, not look to give you when you are there because they could have gave to you anytime they want to, right? Again, the people who's with the get the bag, what happens when people can just come up with a claim 10, 20, 30 years ago and boom, you got to spend millions of dollars to get out of that claim? How do you do that when there's so much evidence through your music that they can play, that they're going to play in the courtroom, by the way? They're going to play every interview where you said something crazy about women. They're going to play it in the courtroom. They're going to use it as witness testimony. They're going to go through your social media. How many times you try to proposition for sex the same type of women, right? That you claim that you don't want to be a part of. They're going to go through those records as well. They're going to go through any type of record that they possibly can. This is why these take these cases a year to actually prosecute. Anybody who claims that they're good at these type of women are clearly playing you for a fool. These are people who got money. But I keep telling you, productive men who've been taught to leave this stuff alone from beginning to end, we don't have these problems. Yeah, if you don't, if you need, you have to understand that as the years go on, it takes less and less evidence to convict somebody of a crime. This is how come in the 70s, 80s, 90s, things weren't brought up for crimes, but in the 2000s and beyond, they are brought up for crimes because it's less and less it takes to actually find you guilty of something. That's the problem that people don't get. It's literally the problem that people don't get. But somehow you're going to pretend that you got game. They're going to listen to everything that you said online. They're going to go through every single phone number. I'm telling you how this stuff works. This is the portion of the conversation that you need to listen to. You may check out for the rest of it, but let me tell you how these things work in an investigatory context when it comes to law enforcement. And it doesn't matter where you try to delete the streams because that can be considered obstruction of justice, yada, yada, yada. No one cares if you're actually trolling online when you're saying these things. Everything that you say can and will be misrepresented in front of you, in front of a court of law, in front of people that you don't know. You say incredibly dangerous and stupid shit like you can't live without Puddy, bro. That's gonna be the actual framework to which they structure their conversation around. Brother Moses, thank you for the $5 cash app. I don't think I have my cash app posted anywhere. Oh, it must be an old one. But you guys have got to understand. Look, you're gonna have to get your stuff together and keep your stuff together and leave these people alone. Once you get your stuff together, I suggest you move to another city, another town where people don't know you. Because any type of allegation, because these are allegations, not proof, not testimony, not nothing, can end up upending your entire life. And then you have to pay the inordinate amount of money to get a PR team. You have to pay an inordinate amount of money to get a law firm to actually defend you. They have a free law firm with these claims. You don't have a free law firm when it comes to protecting yourself. Oh, okay, thanks, LaRock. But see, the people who keep claiming that they're trying to help you out, they don't have any live streams talking about law enforcement experience when it comes to these actual things. They don't have any experience telling you that damn near every dude who walked into those situations, even though they were like two of them that I testified for, them dudes were 100% innocent of what happened. They still went down for it anyway. Why? People couldn't be moved on the jury. Think about it. Your Method Man. How many tours have Method Man been on in the past? I don't know. I started listening to Wu Tang in 1995 or 1996. So we're talking about 1995 or 1996 till now. That's a long ass time. We're talking about many different tours, many different clubs, many different places where he went to go visit, many different parties, private parties, corporate events, and all this stuff that he's ever been a part of is going to be scrutinized because of these claims. It's gone Garfield, it's gone CJ. But you have to understand that a lot of these people are coming out after their career's over. And they're trying to get that retirement bag out of these dudes. But see, the men set up the actual culture where getting the bag is okay. Getting the bag is okay. So ask yourself, if you was Method Man and you have a very public track record, you said some crazy stuff on albums, you said some crazy stuff in interviews, you're going to get testimony from people who don't like you, who are around you, right? Because this is how this works. They put out a feeler to all these different personnel to see if people want to testify against you about things that you said and things that you've done in the past. That's the problem here. You don't get it. Dude, you're in trouble. You're in danger everywhere you go, everywhere you present yourself. Not just now, but in the past too. 10, 20 years from now, you got to make sure that you're not cold approaching the wrong type of people. And you don't know what these people are going to turn into later on. You don't know. A person think that they could have had you at XYZ point in time and you curb those people at that point in time. Yeah, they can come back and they can do something to you. How are you going to be able to protect yourself? How are you going to be able to defend yourself? Again, these are people in professional settings. We haven't went to the average everyday Joe Blow who go through this. We're talking about superstars, quote unquote, people who's highly in the public realm. How do you defend yourself against these charges? The point is you can't. But you better have a Rolodex full of women that's going to testify to your actual defense. That's one thing you can have. The second thing that you need to have, most importantly than the women who's going to come testify to your character, because that does matter in court. If you're the only person up there and you're just up there, the second thing is you got to take the stand. You got to take the stand. It doesn't matter how it looks. A person not taking a stand in these type of charges looks incredibly bad. It is your right to not take the stand, sir. It is. But let's say that you don't take the stand, a whole bunch of things out there that can be construed one way or another. What are you going to do with that? You didn't even allow yourself to be cross-examined to change those people's minds. Most cases when this happens, prosecutor lays out his case. The defense cross-examines the actual witnesses. The defense lays out its case. Defense lays out its witnesses. Then there's closing statements between the prosecution and the actual defense. Let's say you don't take the stand. You don't take the stand. People look at that a certain type of way when you cannot answer the basic questions that they got to come up with answers with on their own. That's why you have to take a stand in these type of circumstances. I don't care how they have to prepare you. At the end of the day, it's going to be misrepresented in front of a group of people. At least you can have your voice out there when you have to take the stand for this. Say it again. You see, people don't know that. And them insurance companies going to pay out right away. Why? Insurance companies is not going to pay millions. Insurance going to pay right away. Insurance going to come up with a deal. They going to sign a deal right away, and they getting up out of there. Especially if you're a business. Them paying out the settlement is way better than you costing them millions of dollars when they can pay out 50,000. Because see, people haven't been an insurance producer and they don't understand what insurance is about. It's about a liability and a risk. They will pay up front to make you look more guilty than them have to pay out even more money when your ass is actually found guilty. Again, these people are not part of the space. Because if you're a part of the actual black manosphere, you'll be warning men about these things, right? You wouldn't have a track record of saying that, oh, I can't live without Puddy, or I gotta deal with these women in this environment. Oh, dude, none of this stuff matters, bro. Like when there are real consequences coming down, all the stuff you said in the past, it doesn't matter at all. Again, another person who should have took the stand. Like you have to understand, dude. Like these attorneys will watch you lose. They will take your money and they will watch you lose. They don't care. They're there to present arguments. They defend people who actually done horrific crimes without their client taking the stand. If you're in a situation like this, you need to take the stand, sir. Because innocent people don't have a problem taking the stand. People who got something to hide don't take the stand. It's not a good legal strategy. Not in a SA case. No, sir. You need to take a stand. You need to answer them hard questions in front of people. You need to have that person who's making these claims against you cross-examined. That's right. Because when the person had to answer questions back and forth, there ain't no way out of that. A lot of people think that, oh, well, don't actually have her being asked all these questions. You can look guilty. I'm like, dude, the first time I've ever saw a woman split another woman in half on the stand, that shit was magical to watch. Because a woman can ask another woman questions that a man cannot ask another woman in court. Let's say that you come up with this actual quote unquote defense, and the defense is based on you not taking a stand and you not doing anything. Dude, you're putting yourself at immense risk. And you paying these people because lawyers only care about the money. This is why you have enough money to go after very good law firms. So let's go over to Jonathan Major's case. The woman was supposed to be brought up on the actual domestic violence charges, but according to the police on scene, that didn't happen. Even though Jonathan Majors did call the police. Again, when you call the police, you meet them outside. On the body cameras, you get the story right before they walk into their door. They walk into their door, things are going to be quite different. If you call them, you need to set the stage. If you call them and you let them set the stage or let her set the stage, you're going to be in a world of trouble. Again, no trial. No trial at all. This is what I mean by losing stuff, and you haven't even went through due process and you lost stuff. And I don't mind these dudes going down for this shit. I don't mind them. But at the end of the day, you need to learn. You're not going to win in a system to where they believe more than you are. You're not going to win in an actual system where men actually want to believe them more than they believe you. You're not going to win if you don't understand risk. You don't understand if you don't understand the reward. You don't understand this type of system. These are mere allegations. No trial. Losing all type of money. No trial. It takes a lot of time to prosecute these cases. No trial. You lose contracts right away. The court of public opinion is very fast. No one wants to be associated or around that type of stuff. Especially you're in the music career field that you're in. You know what most of the music is actually tailored around. You know how many stories that are out there about all these different women in the actual career field and things that they had to do to quote unquote make it and stay on there. The type of things that a lot of these women had to keep silent about. Like, bro, this is just the beginning. They're gonna be going after dudes who are dead. Why? Who's gonna be able to help it? Now that whole catalog that was worth millions of dollars is gonna be worth hundreds of thousands. Why? We already set up a society where to get the bad culture is great. Correct? Again, these are the game dudes. They had enough game to get themselves some quick putty. Bro, quick putty is the most expensive putty on the planet. Keep trying to tell these dudes. They don't want to hear it. Your favorite dating coach isn't going to talk about this story. Your favorite game dude isn't going to talk about this story. Your favorite fake online sexually compromised dude is not going to cover this story. Your fave Coke Patrol fake black pillar or red pillar is going to cover this story. They're not going to do it. You want to know why? Because you don't even understand the things that they're actually pushing. The things that they're actually pushing is an actual fantasy. It's bitch nigga fan fiction. You don't even understand it as bitch nigga fan fiction. But at the end of the day, I guess I gotta be more entertaining for you to actually believe what I'm saying. These consequences are everything but entertaining. These consequences are upfront, they are for real, they are permanent, and nearly nobody goes back on their word to give the money back after they're taken away from you. Look at Johnny Depp. Once it came down to actually presenting things on the stand, did any of those people come back and apologize? Did any of those people come back and put them into movies? Did any of those people come back and do anything? The answer is no. The answer is no. The answer is no. So why would you spend your time listening to people who want to unintellectually masturbate you to the actual point that there ain't no consequences to these actual actions that you take out here with these people who are never held responsible in any shape, way, form, or fashion? Dude, they're gonna skip over this stuff like it didn't happen. Dude, they skipped over the whole Me Too thing, never addressed it. And you sit your stupid ass right there and you kept paying attention to them. This is why at this point in time, I'm just laying out the facts of the actual situation. The consequences are upfront. Clearing your name never happens. What's going on, Second Loss on Sexy Ribs? What's going on, Erica Williams, BMT, Ma Perry? But that's where we at. Like a lot of people, they don't want to understand that there are consequences to these actions that you take out here. Again, we're talking about cases from the 90s. 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 P. Diddy's situation a little bit different, but with this Method Man shit, 90s. Let's say we're talking about 93. It's 2023. We're talking about 30 years ago. Doesn't matter what's right, doesn't matter what's wrong. The whole situation and point of view is y'all set this thing up for the get the bag movement, right? You can get the bag. Oh yeah, get the bag, get the bag. Oh yeah. Lie about anything, get the bag. What happens when you're a part of the get the bag movement? So you depended on less than apparable individuals in order for you to get this stuff off. Getting on the microphone, saying that you lied about a whole bunch of stuff like Fat Joe said. Oh no, all this stuff I was just lying about on these. Yeah, everybody was lying about these things. But now these lies that you actually told to make money are now being used against you to actually bring you up on charges. See what I'm saying? You don't really win with this stuff, not in the long term. And yeah, this stuff can happen to anybody. That's the whole point. But what happened when you're so on the record about doing certain things to certain women all the time with no consequences? You put people in a position to destroy you. That's right. You put them in that position to destroy you. Whose fault is that? Whose fault is that really? If you keep basing your masculinity on how many people that you be with in an unprincipled manner, don't be shocked and surprised when they come back and try to get something out of you later on in life. Remember, you took something of value, or you was offered something of value when it was valuable. And naturally, the same people are going to come back after you have the value that they cannot take after you at some certain point. Now you have to spend all this money trying to clear your name when there's no way to clear your name. Whose fault is that? Say it again. Many dudes have responded to that. And you think it stopped at wives? You think it haven't started at girlfriends before it was wives? Really? You think that a dude been with some chick and he messed with a dude back in the day that she and him know that they can get some money out of right now, and now that girl can ride up and just play the big victim and get a whole nice bag out of you based off of allegations. You think they ain't gonna do that? To retire, to destroy your entire self worth right now so that way they can retire. You're not going to hear Lucario talking about this. You're not going to hear Minister Jap talking about this. You're not going to hear any of these people who make their entire living off of pretending like they're good at women talk about this shit with you. They're not going to. They're just going to pretend like this stuff never happens. And it ain't going to happen to me because I'm a magical Negro. And this stuff ain't going to happen to me because I got so much game. I got so much game that, look, I ain't got to worry about these things until you actually have to start worrying about them. Again, this stuff is very expensive. It always have been expensive. It's just that you're realizing the cost of lying. And here's the thing: there's a lot of run up to this actual situation from individuals who claim that they got this stuff under control. Hmm. I agree. Just wait till they can make these claims overseas. Just wait till they can make these claims overseas and they can just go to the United States government to get recompense from the government. You think that ain't coming? You really think that ain't coming? You're not going to be able to go to different areas where you're going to be sexually indiscriminate and there ain't going to be no consequences for it. Especially if the government can get money out of you. And the only thing they got to do is make the claim to the actual U.S. and I guess they could be more lenient on who they allow passports to, but you are actually on film, on tape, going over there saying you doing all these things. All it takes is a mere allegation and your ass is going down for this. Whose fault is this? Whose fault is this really? Again, there was always going to be a time where this stuff was going to turn round robin and this stuff was going to have as many consequences as the claims that are made by the previous individuals. Think about the dudes who went around saying that they did XYZ toward these individuals. Many different live streams over many different years. They will play that stuff back in court as if it's a sworn statement that you're going to have to respond to. And you think those people on the actual jury is going to look at you like, oh, well, this was just entertainment, or oh, this was just something that I just said. I wasn't. I wasn't serious about it. That's the whole point of having your whole points being misrepresented in front of other people that you got to respond to. You're not going to win this. You're not going to win this at all. It doesn't matter how many people that you get behind, you're still going to face the same level of consequences either now or later. I seen it when I was in the military. You have dudes who were living in the dorms because a woman said she got pregnant by him. This is before they was forced to do like DNA tests and all that kind of stuff. The only thing they did was they looked at how sexually indiscriminate that this dude was, and he had to pay for it. Period. This girl then took off back to the United States, got a pink ID card on base in her local area while you paying for that shit overseas. That's the problem. You can stop this shit whenever you want to. But at the end of the day, a lot of people don't want to hear that. They want to listen to the escapism of, I could get away with this stuff forever. Yeah. Now you see what the escapism actually leads to. It leads to the Vin Diesels, the Method Man. Who's next? It could be anybody. You think that Mystical was going to be the only rapper out here being charged with that type of shit? At least the women had the temerity to do it right away. Back to back charges, got out of prison, dealt with the same level of women. Didn't learn this lesson. Whether he was innocent or guilty, well, he probably was guilty for the first one, but for the one that he's on now, that's where we at. When you create an entire culture behind signing bad contracts and celebrating for no reason and celebrating groups of people that should never have the spotlight on them in the first place, this is where you're going to be. Remember back in the day when people thought that you had a problem because you wasn't being out here so as sexually indiscriminate as they were? That happened within this space. We're talking about less than 5 years ago. So you telling me, oh, MOT, if you don't like it, you should leave the space. I'm like, no, no, no. The space worked just fine. The space worked just fine. That's why the history is more important than the people who are clearly trying to proclaim that they're a part of it. And the point is, it doesn't even matter if it's true. It matters that it can happen without truth being a part of it. Like, this is why a lot of things are important. Like going through due process at the time of the actual activity. It's important that that happened at that point in time, so that way she don't look crazy later on in life. It's important to report these things when they happen. But different states, different rules. This is why you have to get involved in the actual political process itself. So that way you can actually have a voice in what's actually reasonable when it comes to these type of claims. Because these claims got immediate consequences associated with them. Let's say there's some Hollywood producer want to get you off a film and they go rummaging through your past. They can literally find a person that seems credible and they can have these charges rain down upon you. They don't have to fire you from the project. They can let this person make a claim and get you to lose your entire life over it. That's the thing. Easy come, easy go. A lot of people don't want to understand it. They don't want to think that that's possible. Here's the other thing. Everybody ain't going to have what John J. Majors had. I mean, Joseph Major had. No one's going to have some known chick all of a sudden be your girlfriend after this stuff is over with. No one's going to have that. No one's going to have your homeboys who are going to testify to that incident or to your character when this happens. Again, nobody's going to risk their entire life to save yours because these SA charges, they're not playing around with you. They're trying to get you off of and disconnected from every single thing that you are associated with right away. Yep. A lot of people think that they're above these consequences from mere claims until you're not. Like I said, today isn't going to help a lot of these people. You have a whole industry full of people that can have these claims put on them by any number of hundreds or even thousands of women over the past 30 years. You think that's something that you want to face? It's nothing you want to face. Again, all these people, they're just going to skip over this case like it didn't even happen. They're going to continue to ride the backs of thirsty ass, sexless men who think that there ain't no consequences to any of these actions that they engage in, that they talk about online. You think that any of these dating coaches are immune to this type of behavior from women that they meet and talk to online? You think that that's the case? You really think that that's the case? I keep telling you, there are consequences to these actions. And be prepared that everything that you say in text messages and email can be misrepresented in front of a court of personnel that you don't know that you're going to have to pay to explain yourself from. What's going on, Eric Bird? hmm It's why I keep telling you there are consequences to these things. You just don't see them. This is why these people talking about how they didn't got XYZ out of a person, bragged on it publicly. Bro, you're just 2 seconds away from having that person come back and file charges against you. Mere allegations going to ruin your entire life. And remember, Method Man is not out here being reckless in the actual media that brought these type of charges on. A person just decided out the blue with no evidence just to make these allegations. You think you got that kind of clout? Where you don't lose as much as P. Diddy did? You think you ain't got that kind of clout? To where people could just remove all manner of support from you until the situation is over. Again, that's their situation. She literally could have been with anyone on the planet, but she chose what she chose. Not mad at her. Let them do what they gonna do. And that's the whole point. They can literally do that, whether the claims are true or false. Especially if you don't take the stand. But these ain't no low key charges, I can tell you that much. Dude could be innocent or guilty. There's no way to know unless you go through the process. And right now, you don't even need any type of physical evidence. The only thing you need is emotional testimony nowadays to be brought up on these type of charges. They literally think that this stuff doesn't affect them until it does. I mean, but Method Man has always been a low key dude. Always been a stand up dude. Most dudes who I know who are actually what do you call it? Promoters of these concerts. They said he's always been a stand up dude. Never really screwed over anybody in the industry. That's why people like working with him. He'll take his money afterwards. He's not gonna pull no nonsense where he's gonna show up late or any of that stuff. That dude was always a stand up dude with everybody. But these people ain't gonna come out and come on the stand and try to risk anything for this guy. That's what it is. You got to make sure that you got a cool ass counter narrative going because the claims come first. People step off. That's the second thing that happened. Then you got to last all the way into the trial. And then after the trial's over, there's still going to be people who still believe those claims or not. Yeah, people were making fun of the Mike Pence rule. I remember that. Yes, sir. And you mean to tell me that every person isn't going to be one of those type of people who want to bring you up on charges for no reason? Come on, man. The only people who got away with this stuff are the people who are not being reported. The people who are not reported are the people who got away with this. Anybody can be brought up on this type of charges. Anybody could be brought up on this type of crime. Because guess what? Now the police have to investigate the allegations. They got to bring her in for an interview. That interview, that isn't right away. Like I said, the claims come out first. The law enforcement process is very slow to bringing this to court. Incredibly slow. Remember all these people talking about the number of people that they've been with in the past? Dude, all that stuff's gonna be played in court. It's gonna be played in court. You think you can answer those type of questions on the cross examination? You're not gonna be able to answer those type of questions on the cross examination. And then again, you're gonna have the other side of this thing. You're gonna have these grifters within the manosphere who try to tell you about how much they care about men and how much Method Man is being persecuted for the but they don't tell you about the discipline level that makes sure that you're not in this stuff in the first place. Because you're too busy wanting to hang out. You're too busy wanting to hang out and not be shit in general. Yeah. Yeah, because I've been through explaining these. I've been in the courtroom, not as a defendant, but as a bailiff and as an actual person on the jury who had to judge this type of shit. It's for real. You in that room, people are not even trying to hear that shit. They're not even listening to the evidence. Your ass is guilty already. Then you have a uphill climb to climb. Okay, let's say it's a hung jury. Them charges are still over your head. Another prosecutor can bring your ass up on the same charges tomorrow, looking at everything that was brought up in the previous trial. They already know what your playbook is. Yeah, this it ain't over. Yes, they did. I don't watch South Park, but I did watch that one. I don't watch it on a daily basis, but I did watch that one specifically. Like, we haven't even got to the Isley brothers or any of these other blues slingers, singers, bro. Like, nobody's even touching them. They can go back even further to talk about this stuff. Bro, they haven't even went to the Playboy Mansion and started digging up those people who's been on that. I keep telling you, this stuff does not work out. And this is when you realize your game dudes and your dating coaches and the dudes who claim that they get all the women, this is when you know that they're full of shit. This is when you know they full of shit. Because you think these individuals are going to be out here? No, they're not going to be out here laying down the law, acting like they're above the consequences. They don't do that. I'm just saying, man, you ain't got to be a victim of this shit. You got to be able to get on the stand, have some people testify against you, make sure you keep all your records from now and then. You got to be able to do all that. When the claims come up, you got to be on the offense in the actual media the same way Vin Diesel was, whether he's innocent or guilty. You got to have something to release right away that matches up with the claims. Because the only thing you got is, man, I would never do no shit like that. Yeah, dude, that's not a counter argument. And that counter argument doesn't really play very well in the media, where people are trying to get immediate justice for their claims. I am telling you, you do not want these people judging you behind that closed door. Yeah. I mean, but that case never should have happened though, because the person signed an actual, well, whether I agree with it or not, it doesn't matter. She signed an actual letter saying that she wasn't going to come back after they do it later on for charges, and it turns out that it did. I'm shocked that they even went to trial at all. But then again, when you have so many claims of a different kind, and your one claim happened to be the one that is in the statute of limitations, don't be shocked or surprised when something happened to you. Don't be shocked. But don't worry about it, man. The people who want to be sexually irresponsible are going to continuously be able to do so. At the end of the day, I think that if they can go after Method Man, there's a whole lot more, way more reckless dudes that they can actually go after who still got their money together, that the women are pretty pissed off of, that they've been treated some sort of way in the past. So stay tuned, man. This him tooing is going to be continuing. Him too is an actual thing for these people in rap music who think they're above the consequences of the actual situation that they found themselves in. I want to thank you guys for coming through. Make sure you like the video on the way out. I'm the man tomorrow. You guys have a really nice rest of y'all night. Peace.